What's good? Welcome to the First Street Podcast presented by Bet Rivers. Make sure you download that Bet Rivers app or go to www.betrivers.com. You must be 21 years or older to play. So like and subscribe to the First Street Podcast. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And if you are on the stream right now, jump into that chat so we can shout you out. So we are going Commanders heavy all day today. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to bring in the guys. We're going to bring in my main man to my left right here. Say it. What's good, man? How are you?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Hey, man, we are chilling today. And we got a special guest. We're bringing in Adam from the Burgundy and Gold Report. What's good, Adam?
Hey, how's it going? Great to be on with you, man.
Hey, thank you, man. Listen, I have been, reading your stuff for a little bit. I appreciate it. It's amazing. You've been giving me some insight. I've been using some of your stuff on my podcast to tell you the truth, man. Right? But yeah, man, it's always good to feel great and be connected with the Commanders and things like that. And reading your stuff is one way that I sure feel at home. So thank you for doing what you do. Just know that you do have people out here that are reading your things, man. I really do appreciate it. And I'm glad that you replied back when I tried to get in touch with you, bring on to the podcast. I was so excited. So you just wrote this one article on an undrafted middle linebacker, Drew White. Can I tell everybody about that for us?
Yeah. So pre-draft, I put together, rookie draft editions where just some guys I scouted that I thought were fits in Washington. So after the draft concluded, I kind of continued that trend this year. We've been doing this for about 6 years. This is the second I've had on the website. With Drew White, what I really liked about him putting out this undrafted free agent edition is the linebacker. It's concerning. I put out an article a couple weeks ago about Cole Holcomb. Rivera hasn't been shy that Cole Holcomb is going to be the man at Mike. I think that surprised a lot of folks. I'm not really sure why it did, because I think the writing was on the wall last year that Jamin Davis was probably going to stay at outside. I think he, took his lumps. There was a lot of growing pains there, but I think it makes perfect sense that, the Cole slips in that position, considering they didn't address the position in free agency or in the draft. So, compared to last year, it was Jared Patterson was the only undrafted free agent they got post-draft. This year, we're over 14 already. So Drew White, Notre Dame, a little undersized, 6 foot, 227. I did a full season scouting report on him. What I really liked about him, it might concern some people. It's pretty much been a trend with Ron Rivera in his drafts is he's looking for captains. He's looking for graduates. He's looking for a lot of it, and especially in Drew White's case, some guys have took the extra year eligibility, 5-6 years even. So in Drew White's case, he actually played 4 straight years. Prior to that, he was one of 10 freshmen that were redshirted, so he didn't see the field. So he had 4 straight years, but it really was those last 2 years that he started to, show that the NFL was a likely path for him. But last year, when he actually recorded his first interception for a pick 6, that's really when I think it turned some of the heads as far as what he could be in the NFL. A lot of people will say, well, it's undrafted, so what do you expect of him? I make a living of evaluating potential undrafted small school, especially HBCU guys. And Drew White, he's a typical overachiever. You're talking about when he came out of high school, he was one of the highest ranked linebackers in the nation. And, I actually lived in South Florida for a brief time. And, you're talking about St. Thomas Aquinas and Fort Lauderdale. That's a powerhouse. So for him to not only dominate on that level, but, 8.2 tackles per game, I think that really put him on the map. So some will question what happened. He got to Notre Dame, was there 5 years, played a graduate year. What happened? He got undrafted. I think, I like his stocky frame, but that 6 foot 227, that's going to be a little concerning. But again, right. I like his options is, making the team.
Yeah. Let's bring in Paulie. What's good?
What's good? What's good, fellas?
Hey, so we're here with our guy, Bruce. So, Bruce, this guy had a lot of different choices other than Notre Dame. Like you said, he's one of the top-rated recruits when he came out. And say it. Go ahead, ask that question, man.
No, I mean, I went through and read the article that, Tupac sent it to me earlier today, and I get a chance to read it until just a few minutes ago. But as I was reading it, he was talking about how he was such a highly rated linebacker. If you're a highly rated linebacker, you want to go to a team that's gonna give linebackers a chance to shine. Notre Dame is not that team. So for him to go to Notre Dame, and it kind of almost like he kind of got lost in the system. Saying if he went to another school that did more with linebackers, he may have been drafted. He may not be drafted. I mean, we never know. It's here to say, but for me to read that he did what he did in Florida in Santa Quintus, and I was like, wait, what? Wait a minute. I had to go back and read it again. He did what? And I was like, how did he have a Notre Dame? You know, I'm not taking nothing away from Notre Dame, but defensively, unless he just went there because he wanted to go to school, defensively, if he should have went to another school that would allow him to shine and flourish, then
why would that allow him to shine? That would make no damn sense. Why would that allow him to shine?
He was a little bit buried.
They just had homeboy last year. Hey, what are you talking about, man?
We're talking about Drew White. He was a little bit.
No, I know he's talking about Drew White. I'm saying for him to say don't go to Notre Dame and shine as a linebacker, they did put out some pretty good linebackers over the past couple of years or so, man. They just had to do last year who everybody in the Redskin Nation wanted, or Washington Nation, or whatever the hell you want to call them, wanted, didn't take him, went to Cleveland and balled out. What are you talking about?
That's what he's saying. He said he was buried on that depth chart. That's why he said, why did he choose Notre Dame, where he should have went somewhere else, and he would have been maybe, instead of being an undrafted free agent, he would have been a drafted.
Nah, bro,
being drafted.
Oh, you get your opportunity and you play. That's it.
Right. All I'm saying is, unless he just
get your opportunity and you play.
I'm just saying, like I just said, unless he just went there for the schooling, then I understand. But if he went there with the aspiration of, okay, I'm gonna use this Clint and I'm going here and there. Most linebackers aren't coming out of Notre Dame because of the system that they play. That's
all linebackers that come out. We just had a linebacker last year come out of there.
All I'm saying, he could have went to a more defensive squad, a defensive laden squad that would have got him more prepared to do X,
he went because the defensive coach
3 or 4 years.
He went because the guy that's the head coach now was a defensive coach, and he brings in good recruits, and the players swear by that dude. That's why he went. He went because he had a guy who just went to, like I said, I don't want to butcher his name. You know the butcher coming, but the dude that went to Cleveland, man, he shined in that offense, in that defense, and he figured that he could do the same. I don't know. You saying that he shouldn't have went to Notre Dame because it's not a defensive school. Notre Dame put out good defensive players. What are you talking about?
Well, I'll say this. I'm a big SEC guy. Alabama's my school. I've been a fan since Chris Samuels was there. But it was between Arizona, Arkansas, and Notre Dame. So SEC is big time ball. But I do understand why he chose Notre Dame, because Missouri and Arkansas, as far as SEC goes, I can understand why he probably ducked out of that.
That's lost in the shuffle.
You know, and that's really important, because I think with Notre Dame, the thing about Notre Dame is you're getting spotlight. So if you're a player that wants to get recognition, you know, with their contracts and everything with TV and everything like that, Notre Dame is always on TV. Arkansas and Missouri, those are regional things. So I understand from that aspect, but just like you said, there was a lot of, I don't know if you would say NFL talent, but as far as Notre Dame considered, talent ahead of him. So yeah, he was buried in the depth chart for a while, 6 foot 223, but he's running a 4.67. Yep. So I expected when I turned on the film, he was going to be like a 4.8 guy to be undrafted, but I see a lot of the intangibles there. So again, I can only go by the tape that I see this year, and I'm confused why he didn't get drafted. So I'm just happy he's in Washington.
And I'm gonna tell you one more thing too. And he did graduate from the University of Notre Dame, pre-med and business. So yeah, this is a brain. This is a brain. This is a brain. I like some of the pros you have up here. Displays impressive instincts, which match some of his deficiencies in cover. Displays great lateral movement, impressive burst off the snap, dependable force against the run, which is something that we really, really need, is some linebackers that can play the run, because I'm still worried about our defense when it comes to playing the run game.
Where's this article at?
The Burgundy and Gold.
The Burgundy and Gold report.
Okay.
The Burgundy and Gold.
I ain't hear it, man. That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah. All right. So now I would like to talk about our guy, Chris Paul, not the point guard, but the other guard. Our guy, Chris Paul, man. So tell us a little bit about Chris Paul that we don't know yet.
Again, a guy that played on the outside originally. I think A lot of people just think they just draft interior guard. Again, continue with the trend, finding versatility, leaders, guys that were graduates, multiple years in school. You see the trend in this draft. So again, when he played right tackle, he was serviceable. But when he was inside, I think he showed his mean streak. I think his lack of bend wasn't exposed in the inside. And again, you're talking about these 6'4", 323. So that's decent for that inside. You start to put that outside, that's borderline. And he's got decent movement, but just not enough to be on the outside. So I think, again, they got another sleeper in this guy, because I think this is somebody that they're going to be able to develop, I think, by letting, some of their interior guys go via free agency and just release. I think that right now, their interior, one injury happens, they're in trouble. So to me, a lot of people read the articles and, they enjoy the undrafted idea. But then, I've got a lot of readers out there that said, why should we care about an undrafted guy? I think we've seen over the last couple of years with the injury situation, Washington being one of the most hardest hit over the last 5 years, that if you have depth in the interior, both sides, defense and offense, you have a chance. But as soon as you start going to the practice squad in mid-year, I think the writing's on the wall. So if you can get this guy going in camp, I think sky's the limit. But as far as, is he going to make the roster? Again, right now, he's going to be really in an uphill battle with a lot of those tweener guys, center guards on the roster already. But I think he has an excellent chance. Any undrafted guy that I wrote, I think they have excellent chance to make the roster, because I think Washington has a good roster. But right now, it's not incredibly deep at that position.
Yes, and Chris Paul was a drafted player.
He was a draft pick.
Late round guys. I stuck on the last one. With the late round guys, people ask me, well, why should I care about a late round guys? But I'm about to put one on right now. Cam Curl coming out, the article about him. Right. We only have to go back 2 years to even see that. So late round drafted guys have long careers in the NFL, and they make up bulks of the roster. So that's what has to be keeping in mind as well.
And one thing about the Chris Paul is he sees himself as a guard. Yeah. He knows what he is in this league, and that's a big thing too. So he's gonna give himself that confidence to go in there and play that position. And I seen him. He is one of them guys that got his stomach hanging over his belt. That's the type of guys you need in the middle like that. And I just seen him just on watching his highlights and seeing pictures of him. You say he's serviceable at tackle. Well, just the NFL. You can't be serviceable. No. If you're serviceable in the college at a position, that means you're going to be not in the league when you're taking that step up. So he knows he's a guard. And another thing is, you say he's in a roster fight. Yeah, that's true. All he has to do is show potential and do what they tell him to do, and he'll be on this team, because they haven't cut a draft pick in Ron Rivera's era yet.
Agreed.
In the first season, especially in the first season.
Well,
they haven't cut a draft pick yet, so he's clearly going to be on this roster.
With the loss of Eric Flowers, and if this guy can show his nasty run game skills, I think definitely he's going to make this roster. But he's
not going to play this year, man. He's only going to play. He's going to play if somebody gets hurt.
Right.
So the middle right now is the dude that signed. The guy from Carolina that got the big
Turner.
Not Turner. Turner's Turner's a deaf guy. What's the other guy? No, the guy that went to Carolina.
Yeah, that's Turner.
Anyway,
not
Trey Turner, man.
That's from
not Trey Turner.
From Carolina.
The other guy from Carolina. And then he left. He went to another team, and then what is it, Norberg or something like that, whatever it is. And Wiseman. Weischer and my man from LSU. Those are three guys that gonna be fighting for that 3-guard rotation right there.
Agreed.
Hey, you look the dude name up yet? What's his name, bro?
Yeah, I'm already on it. I'm already on it for you. I'm already on it. So you're talking about let me get this in positions. Hold on.
He went to the Chargers, I think.
Yeah.
I think he left Carolina, signed a big deal with the Chargers.
So centers guard, we got Ishmael, Larson, Rouye, and Troll. And then as far as guards go, we got I'm not even saying that name. Callahan.
I'm gonna think of it before you even name.
Wes Schweitzer, Trey Robinson. You talking about Robinson?
No.
You got Trey Turner, Wes Schweitzer, Chris Paul, Andrew
Norwell,
Andrew Norwell.
Norwell, Andrew Norwell.
Yeah. He was one the year that he had his Pro Bowl year, he was viewed as like, I think, the top interior guard, which granted it's a couple years ago, but to get him on the cheap and still be able to get that supplemental pick next year for Brandon leaving, I understand why they did it, because if they go higher and try to make a trade or do something crazy, they'll lose out on that. So at least for this year, it's it's doable, because I think you're going to see them commit to the run like you haven't seen in years, I think, because if you look what they did in Indianapolis, that really helped Wentz tremendously. And instead of just a Taylor, they have a three-headed monster with Washington. So I think it's setting up good for rookies, the new quarterback. I think it's really setting up good for them.
I disagree with that one, buddy.
Be competitive.
Oh, so why do you disagree, Paul?
I disagree with that run heavy because Scott Turner's too pass happy to go run heavy.
I agree.
He got another toy. He got another toy in there with Jahan Dotson. You know what I mean? You talking about a healthy man with other dudes in Carolina. Samuel's coming back. Yeah, the healthy Samuel's coming back. Talking about Terry McLaurin. They drafted the dude Cole, the tight end. You know what I mean? A pass receiving tight end. Look, they clearly loaded this team up to throw the ball. They want to throw to get ahead and run to put the game away. And that's Scott Turner's. That's his philosophy. You can see that, man. Anytime you got a quarterback that's been on your team for 6 days, and then you go out on Monday Night Football and you have him throw the ball 30 times, you're a pass happy ass coordinator. Right? I don't care how many linemen and running back you draft. That's not going to change his philosophy.
Since you brought him up, let's talk about him now. Let's talk about this pass catching tight end, this 6'6", 246 monster out of Nevada named Cole Turner. Adam, enlighten us, please.
What I really liked about him is, I think when you think about pass catching tight ends, you think they can't block at all. Although he's not a good run blocker at all, man, get him out in space when they're passing, and the picks he set, and when the running back, anything that is in front of him, I like what he does. That's when he utilizes his arms. He is not a run blocker though, and I don't think that's something you'll ever try to get him to be. In saying that, 6'6", 246. Last year, everyone talked about, I guess, Strong as a guy that everyone should be watching. Man, this guy's bailed him out time and time again. You're talking about passes that were literally 8 feet plus in the end zone, almost hitting the uprights. Cole Turner's grabbing one-handers. I think this guy just fell under the radar with a really weak tight end class. And I think that when all is said and done, he's going to be the man in Washington. That's high praise, but not this year. I'm not saying that. I really like Logan Thomas. I'm talking about, the next 2-3 years, he slowly develops into one, because Bates, I think he's your all-around tight end too. And they're looking for somebody that can be a guy that can flex out and just really use in the red zone. What I love about this, and I wrote in my article, was I love the idea of having a red zone formation where you can march out, 2 6'6" tight ends. You've got Cam Sims on the outside. You've got a red zone package. So, although you have all these awesome weapons, these running backs, man, you can line them up on the red zone and really, push these defensive backs against the wall. So what I really liked about him is what he offers in the red zone. Big bodied, feasted on third downs. That's what I look for in a chain moving tight end. So although the yards weren't crazy, that's why he went so late. If you're talking about more production, I definitely think he's considered earlier. But 667 yards, 5 touchdowns, 8.6 per catch, pretty pedestrian. But again, Nevada, what they're running over there, they strictly used him in that red zone chain moving role, and I think that's exactly what Washington will use him with. Will he get play right away? I think he will, because from everything I'm hearing, Logan Thomas is shooting for week 1, but I'm hearing, this could linger into week 3, week 4. So going into the season with Bates and people still talking about Sammy Reyes, that scared me. So the fact that they got Cole Turner, I feel a lot better about that situation.
All right. So
this thing with that, and I agree with you, he's not going to be the man this year.
No.
He'll be a contributor though.
Yeah.
I mean, and you might see him on maybe 10 to 15 snaps a year. Because I do like Bates, and I think they like Bates. I think Bates was surprisingly adequate as a pass catcher, and he was strong in the blocking game. And the real key is to see, like you said, how Sammy Reyes has came along in the pass catching game, because he's clearly going to be a number 2. Cole is not a number 2. So he's going to be a specialist this year. That's if he can get on the field and stay healthy. And the key is really his playing time is going to really come about to, like you said, of how Logan Thomas comes back. If he comes back and he's ready to go, then that's going to hinder his time. If he don't come back and he's not ready to go, then he will see some more time on that field than he should.
So your tight end room is pretty stacked with 6 tight ends right here. And is this crazy to say? But our smallest tight end is 6'5", 225.
Excellent.
That's our smallest tight end is 6'5", 225. Okay, here we go. So tell me who's the odd person out here. You got John Bates, you got Craig Hodges, Sammy Reyes, Rogers. I'm not even gonna butcher his first name. You got Logan Thomas, Cole Turner. Those are our 6 tight ends that we have. Hopefully injury is not what dwindles that down, but a great competition for all of these tight ends. Who is the odd man out, and how many do you see us keeping on the roster going into the season?
You forgot one. He's not listed on the depth chart yet, but AGG is moving to tight end.
That's right, and AGG. And let me correct thank you, AGG. Matter of fact, he would be our smallest tight end.
Well, he's
6'4". At 6'4". No, I'm talking.
They cut him without cutting him. I'm telling you, he got real tight ends. Yeah, it don't matter how tall he is, they cutting him, bro. You got all these real tight ends ahead of him. You know what I mean? They basically saying we don't have no room at the wide receiver position. We'll give you a look over here at tight end. He's a camp body right now. He's gone. He's gonna be in the first wave of cuts.
But what
he's going right now. If I was him, I would get to my agent and I would say, hey, get me out of here now. I'm a receiver, not a tight end.
I don't. Go ahead, Adam.
I said it's a good point, but they did that with Apke. They moved him and they kept him. So I thought when they moved him, the writing was on the wall and he was gone. Otherwise, 100% on board. And also, if Logan Thomas didn't have the injury, 100%, this guy's best case is practice squad. But to me, although Sammy Reyes had last year, that was his first year playing the position. AGG, I loved him. I really.
We all love him, bro.
It's still perplexing to me that that he's not able to progress, because what I saw in college I really love, but it just shows you level of competition doesn't always transfer. But again, compared to Niles Paul, he's got a long way to go, because at least with Niles Paul, he showed what he could do in the run game as far as a blocker. AGG is just a pure pass catcher. He's not going to offer much. But again, it's all about Logan Thomas. I do think that they're going to go into the season with 4. And 4 meaning that Logan Thomas will be put on IR. So technically 3, but I think that they'll carry 4. I think Sammy Reyes is practice squad. I don't think there's any threat that somebody will come and poach him off. So I think if it came between AGG and Reyes, they'd probably seriously consider AGG. But again, he's got to have an awesome camp. He's really got to impress. But we've seen it before, so I think that he has a decent chance than any of the tight ends right now. Lower part of the tight ends.
Listen, I hear you, man. That dude is gone, but you brought up Apke. Apke can play special teams. Not only can he play special teams, he excelled in special teams. We haven't seen that from Golden yet. Now, man, if he come out here in this camp in his preseason and he's giving them something on special teams, that's the only way he's gonna have a chance.
He's gonna have
because Ron has said on many occasions about Reyes, he's doing everything he wants us to. We want him to do. He's working hard, and arguably he might be our best run blocker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for a guy who's not going to be the number 1 tight end, you better know how to run block, and you better be good on special teams. And I don't see neither or coming from Gandy Golden. He's a camp body. He'll be on the waiver wire sometime in his training camp. Again, if I was his agents, I'll be telling him, hey, bro, go find your U-Haul place. I'm going to get you out of here. We're going to get you to another team to play where your strength is. He's a good receiver, man. They just threw him in there too early. They the same way they did last year with my guy Brown. De'Ami Brown. They threw him in there too early. Then he got hurt, and then when he came back, they threw him right back in there as if he wasn't struggling from the beginning. So, like I said, he'll be on the waiver wire come September.
Hey, so who are your tight ends that you think make the roster? How many do you think we keep?
4.
4.
Yeah, Logan Thomas, Cole Turner, Bates, and Reyes.
All right, and I'm also going with 4, but I got Sammy Reyes out of there.
I say this. Reyes will be out of there only if they get an injury at another key position where they need to bring an extra body in.
Right.
And during camp.
I think that for Sammy Reyes to make the roster, he doesn't make it as a practice squad player. And if you're not a practice squad player, that means you got to be contributing right away. And I don't see that happening right now. So I do see Turner. I do see Logan Thomas, John Bates, and with Logan being on that physically unable to perform for the first half a little bit. So the other person
First half, hold on. If you on a pup list to start the season, that's 8 weeks.
That's 6.
Okay, well, that's 6 weeks. Same difference. 6 weeks. So if he's
weeks.
on the pup list, Reyes is going to make the roster.
No,
who you got ahead of Reyes?
I think that's where you have that other pass catcher at, and that's why I think.
So you're going to have.
That's why you're going to have.
So you're going to have 3. You're going to have 2 light tight ends,
2 pass catchers.
No, yeah, exactly. So you're going to have 2 light tight ends and only 1 guy that can run block. That makes no sense. Scott Turner. See, you think like Scott Turner. You think like Scott Turner.
And if you have a
but you already got enough receivers. You got enough receivers.
If you have a tight end that can't run block, you can offset that by your formation.
No, you can't.
You can detach him from the line.
Bro.
You can offset it with your formations, Paulie.
I hear what you're saying, but what if Bates go down in the game? Then what the hell are you going to do? Throw the ball every down? Because you damn sure ain't running on the edges.
Hey, I've seen,
and that's what they like to do. They like to run on the edges.
I've seen people bring in tackles when they need the block. They bring in tackles to block.
All right, Scott, listen, I'm sorry, bro. You've been holding on this Gandy Golden thing too long. He gone, bro.
Hey,
he out. He gone.
Hey, he could be out of there. Saying
bye-bye.
We coming to you now, Said. All right, so let's look at our up and coming opponents in week 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we're gonna start off with Tennessee. All right, Tennessee. Say, what can you tell us about Tennessee besides?
I mean, besides the monster they got running the ball at all times. But Tennessee, they not in a full rebuild, but I think they're in a slight rebuild. Them getting rid of A.J. Brown. I mean, granted, he was hurt most of the time. They also got rid of Julio, so they need to replace those 2 wide receivers to get him some targets.
They replaced one of them.
Oh yeah, that's right. They replaced one. They did wrong. But if they don't give no real targets, they're gonna see 9, 10 men in the box, man to man out there, which is gonna make them struggle a little bit, not a lot, because at some point he gonna break through. He gonna take off for about 60 yards.
Yeah.
By the 4th quarter, they're gonna be worn down. But I still think early on, they're gonna need 1 or 2 wide receivers to make up for AJ Brown and half to Julio.
Half of Julio.
Half the Julio. I mean, it is what it is. And let's not forget, if he slip up now, he do gotta bring it with a big arm behind it with some wheels. Yeah. So you gotta stay on top of that as well.
What's his name?
Don't get me started, dog.
Malik Willis.
No, don't even hurt, dog. I'm already heard about it, dog.
Adam, what can you tell us about Tennessee?
Yeah. Treylon Burks. Treylon Burks is a guy evaluated pre-draft. He's the replacement for AJ Brown. Different receivers. I thought it was hilarious that you heard all these analysts sit there. It just shows you everything you need to know. And man, go on Twitter and look for the guys like me and stuff that have just been grinding this, because these guys were just regurgitating the same stuff that Burks is a Brown 2.0. That's not what he is. He's closer to Deebo Samuel, if anything else. He's just a bigger body, not as quick. So what I expect to see in Tennessee is you're going to see a lot of times with him getting coming out of the backfield, slip screens, just a lot of impromptu stuff, because what he did in Arkansas, although he does have the ability to run the full route tree, they really only had him running a couple things. So I think, considering how they like to run over there, I could definitely see them having packages with even Malik Willis in the game, just getting out on the edges. So I think they could be a sneaky team next year. As far as Washington, if Washington come in that game healthy, I love their chances, because I don't think that right now that they have enough in the receiving game to really say that, Washington can't handle them. But Washington will have their hands full stopping the run. Like I said, they're going to work Burks into that. They're going to work Burks, and they're going to work everyone in the roster. So I think that when I said before run heavy with Turner, I just meant that I see him doing more of the run heavier than the past. But with Tennessee, that's a true run heavy team. I think that is the majority of their. And I think that it's just a matter of time before Malik Willis is the starter there. Will it be by Washington? I'm not sure. I hope not, because as another one I evaluated, I think he needs at least a year to really sit, because what he did at Liberty, it's not really going to translate right away. You look at Trey Lance. That's I think a decent comp to put him, but I think better production. So if he's playing by the time Washington faces, I think we're in decent shape. But I don't want to be the team that he just explodes over, because that's usually what happens every time we play one of these bench quarterbacks, and especially one of him that got slighted. I'm still dumbfounded that he slipped so far. But I think Tennessee has a good run game. Their defense definitely got better, but their passing game is not going to scare anybody this year.
No, their
All right,
defense
listen.
what terrifies me. Go ahead, Polly.
No, good.
No, you go. You up.
No, I was saying that. Yeah, nah, bro. You won't see Willis this year, man. That's Tannehill's job unless he gets hurt. And like you said, they run heavy. We haven't stopped the run since Richie Pettipone wasn't our defensive coordinator, and that's a fact. You know what I mean? So you got Thanos back there, and Thanos is gonna run over everybody. And one thing about it is they commit to that run game, and not even Thanos. What's the dude they had that took Thanos' spot last year? He started coming on.
Was his name White too? Was his name White?
And really, they shouldn't have. That playoff game, they fed him the ball. They fed Thanos the ball too much, and because clearly that was like a preseason game for him. He was trying to get back in the rhythm, and he wasn't. But that's even there or there. As far as our game go, we won't see Willis. Tannehill's a quarterback. Tannehill's a smart quarterback, but definitely they got to take away the run game and make Tannehill beat you in the passing game. That's basically it. And it can happen because our secondary sucks. I don't care all of this. Oh, we're communicating now. I've been hearing about we're communicating now in every offseason since Richie Pettibone left the team. You know what I mean? So our secondary, as far as I'm concerned, still sucks. So the average quarterback seems to always look. Daniel Jones always looking like John Elway against us. You know what I mean? So we got to go out there. I can't take no team lightly or say no. A team is not going to do this against us or not going to do that against us, because we have to go out there and prove that these people can't do that. But what we do know is Thanos can run that ball, and if we don't stop him from running that ball, it's going to be a long, short day, because they're going to run. They're going to control the ball, run the clock out, and keep us off the field.
Hey, I do agree with what you're saying. We haven't stopped anybody from running a ball. So I think the guy that you were talking about his name was matter of fact, I just pulled it up. His name is Foreman. He had 4 carries, 66 yards, averaging 16.5. So if we have him and Derrick Henry coming in, and we can't stop the run, it's going to be a very long day at FedEx Field. The next one is a Thursday night game. We travel to Chicago, so this is our primetime game. Say it.
Oh man, they have been clowning the Chicago Bears, talking about how they didn't fix the offensive line. They need a running back. Who he gonna throw the ball to? They got a defensive head coach.
Yeah.
Justin Fields is my boy, but he in trouble.
He's in a lot of trouble.
He in trouble in Chicago. I mean, the defense, maybe the defense, but the offense, they in trouble. Offensive line, they should feast on them.
Yeah, Paulie.
Trap game. Justin Fields showed me enough last year that, number one, he is a leader. Number two, he does have skills and he can play. He just has to be consistent. Chicago keep a defense. One thing Chicago has is a defense. You know, so talking about who can't run. I don't know. I don't know they roster front and back, up and down or whatever. But I'm sure whatever it is, they'll get that worked out. Chicago is not a bum team, and it's a trap game coming up. We'll be coming off a physical game against Tennessee on a short week, going to Chicago on a Thursday night. We don't play well on these national televised games, as history shows. So this is a trap game right here. A big game, and also, but at the same time, a trap game, man. Because Justin Fields has the arm, Justin Fields has the legs, and Justin Fields has the moxie, and we're going into year 2 with him. And he's going to be the clear, uncut starter there. So pause. But anyway, yeah, man. To me, this is trap game number 1 of the season.
Adam.
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, that's a game like you're talking about the secondary, which I'm on board too. I'm concerned about the secondary, but I think those 2 games, Tennessee and Chicago, I think that's where they can focus a lot of their manpower up front. And agreed, Justin Fields, he's shown me, but again, they didn't provide him with weapons. I feel bad for him because I think you draft him, you're going to want to protect him, and you're going to want to load him with weapons. Like what they did with the Jets, I think they have a solid plan over there, what they're doing with Wilson. But with Fields, I don't know if it's just, it's a lot of RPO they're going to do. But again, I agree, trap game. But if Washington is clicking on defense, which, I think that they will be, my prediction is, they are going to be in that top 10 range. I think that'll be good enough to beat Chicago. But again, that's a grudge match game. We're talking about in the end, that's probably like a 16-13 kind of game.
This Chicago game is the one that.
So you got us on a 2-game winning streak so far.
this
game on a 2-game winning streak so far. Okay.
This one is the one that scares me because Tennessee. I like what Paulie said, man. Tennessee is going to pound you. So that's going to have me worried for my defensive line depth. Those guys are going to take beatings because we know Tennessee, they're going to get downhill. They're going to come off on double teams on you. So those guys are going to feel that the following week, short week, just like you just said. We haven't stopped the run since Paulie said Richie Pettibone. I think it go further back than that. But it's just ridiculous that
further back than that, bro. We talking about Richie Pettibone.
I know. But but still, I'm just worried, man. This is a game that we normally should get up, get out on them, and by halftime, we should be going to bed, putting our kids to bed, let them know, hey, it's safe to go to sleep. We got this game won, but this is going to be one of those heart attack games. All right, so that's a Thursday night.
Hey, another thing I forgot about that Tennessee game, too. You said it. Mike Vrabel, man, he's a hell of a coach. You know what I mean? I give them the check and head coaching mark over Ron Rivera.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. Better situational guy for sure.
Yes, and we got some coaches on that. We got some coaches. We might not have quarterbacks on our roster this year, but we have some very, very good coaches on our schedule this year. We may not be facing the quarterbacks, but the coaches, we are definitely doing it. So on the next game, we get a couple of days extra rest because we got Green Bay coming into town now. We got Green Bay coming into town. Adam, I'm going to have you lead this one off and tell us what you think.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one because I understand they lost Adams, but, I feel that they still have enough weapons. We've seen in Green Bay, they kind of just rinse and repeat some of the guys, even though Adams, I'm not going to downplay how good he is. I think Washington secondary is going to have a really tough time in that one. I think, you're talking about getting pressure on the Rodgers. That's when he's at his best. So to me, that's a tough one, but I think Washington drops that. But I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think that they'll keep it competitive going. It's a little early to say, predictions, but, I can see Green Bay pulling that out by like a touchdown. But I think they'll keep that competitive. But again, man, the Washington DBs, that's going to be the concern all year because they really didn't do anything in the offseason. Relying on St. Jude's is another concussion waiting to happen. You're really left with two guys, and I'm really concerned about that. So I think Aaron Rodgers probably goes for like 350 plus on them in that game.
It's not the defense I'm worried about. The secondary I'm worried about here. It is, again, our ability to stop the run with the two-headed monsters that Green Bay bring. Say it. What you got for Green Bay?
Green Bay still, it's going to depend on it's going to depend on the chemistry he has with these new wide receivers. Can he replace something? Not replace. Can he duplicate some of the chemistry he had with Adams with some of these new wide receivers?
Yeah,
because that's going to depend on how much success that Green Bay has this year. Yeah, they drafted some defensive players. The defense is a little bit better, but the offense is what put points on the field. The chemistry, man. These preseason games will be very interesting to see who connects, who's going to be in it. Because he's one of those guys. If he don't trust you, he's not going to throw you the ball.
Yeah.
So Devontae Adams he's not going to show up on the field. So he's going to throw somebody the ball.
Not in Green Bay colors.
I think that's going to be interesting to see. I really want to see. Who can he build the chemistry with to make that offense run again, can click?
First of all, preseason, Aaron Rodgers don't play preseason, so you can kill that right there. Second of all, that ain't about Aaron Rodgers getting chemistry with the receiver. The receiver better get chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. Period. This ain't about two players coming in as one. This as the receiver better. If he's supposed to be at 11 yards, he better damn be at 11 yards and turn it to the left. Period. You know what I mean? But we play well against Green Bay at home. I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? I don't know what did it make. Maybe Aaron like to hit the DC nightlight on Saturday night before the games when we play him or whatever it is. I don't know, but he seems to know be at the top of his game when we play in FedEx Field against our boys. So I like our chances this game. Just off of last year, man, we lost that game because our offense couldn't put the ball in his zone. Period.
Yep.
Period. Period. So by this time of the season, we said it's week 8, week 9. What week is this?
That is week 7. That's week 7.
Week 7, we should be starting to click a little bit on offense. And they should be able to put that ball in the end zone. And week 7, like I said, with these new receivers, it's going to be hard for them to get on Aaron Rodgers' page. It is. You know what I mean? It ain't going to happen right away unless you got some guys who just somebody who come out of nowhere and just a straight baller like an Adam Thielen type player. You know what I'm saying? And in saying that, I think they're going to struggle to score points, and I think we're going to light that scoreboard up because I don't think their defense is that good because Joe Barry is their defense coordinator. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, he's still there.
Okay.
He's
Joe Barry still sucks. I don't care what they did at the end of last year. That was more or less the offense outscoring the other team's defense more than Joe Barry putting a good defense on the field. That dude is a candidate for the worst defensive coordinator of all time. We had him. We had the worst defensive coordinator and the worst head coach of all time on the same damn team in the same year. I wonder why we can't win no games. And you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Jay Gruden.
Jay Gruden. And that about wraps it up for Green Bay. The one thing that Green Bay's defense can do is put some pressure on your quarterback, and they will get after your quarterback. So that we have to look at our offensive line holding up, and which goes back to what Paulie was saying last year. We was losing offensive linemen left and right, and couldn't get them going, so we could protect Taylor Heineke so we could get the ball down the field.
That's that game. This that game where my man down here, Adam, said we need to be run heavy. We need to be run heavy because Green Bay doesn't stop the run. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The problem, the way Green Bay stopped the run is have Aaron Rodgers throw the ball to get them up 3 touchdowns and make the other team have to throw the ball to get in the game or to win the game. So this is a game where we need to be running the ball.
Hey, Dominic Greer, our guy, Dominic Greer says Adams bailed Rodgers out a lot last year. I think we can get him. I believe we can, and I believe we will. And we're going to go to week 8 now. So we were home, and now we send Carson Wentz back up to Indianapolis.
So, Adam, we 2-1, right? We 2-1. We 2-1. I'm 2-1. You 2-1. All right.
This is where we send. This is where we send Carson back to the scene of the crime. Paulie, tell me what you think gonna happen here, bro. Tell me what you got about Indianapolis. I mean,
all right, listen, man. Look, Matt Ryan, hell of a quarterback. He just at the point that you don't know how much he got left in the tank. We'll know by the time we get to playing him. We'll see how much he got left in the tank. If he's the Matt Ryan of last year, look out. This is gonna be a hell of a game. You know what I mean? This is gonna be a hell of a game. As far as we go, we'll see. They talk about Carson Wentz in the locker room and being not being a hell of a leader or whatever, according to Irsay and the GM. By this game, we will see. We will completely see how this team, the players on that field, feel about Carson Wentz as their leader. Because this is what we've been hearing about. We don't even hear about Philly, what happened in Philly. We just keep hearing about Irsay and Frank Wright and their GM dogging them out. You know what I mean? So if he's doing what he needs to do on and off the field for us, by the time week 8 come, these guys should have a fire lit in their ass to go out here and beat this team down for this dude and to shut Jim Irsay's mouth up.
Yeah.
Now, if we come out here flat and lay an egg, that tells you everything you need to know about Carson Wentz and how this team feels about him, in the locker room. Like I said, it should be a good game. We playing up there. They got Jonathan Taylor. Once again, can we stop the run? You know what I mean? But I like us to pull the game out because I think Carson Wentz is going to do his job, and I think they will rally behind him. And I see this as a win for us. 3-1 in this 4-game stretch.
I got you, Adam.
Yeah, I think Carson goes in there with a fire under his ass. I think, Darius Leonard, he was my first HBCU hit, the guy I evaluated, and I think he's awesome, but he's not going to be able to do it by himself. And although they do have talent on that defense, Washington has too much speed at receiver. That's the kind of game you just air it out, because I think, even with Gibson, I think get him out, get him in routes. I think if you just keep going 3-4 wide on them, they don't have personnel right now, from what I looked on paper, that they could even match up. But again, if they try to make it, a game in the trenches with Jonathan Taylor, they could dictate a lot of things. But I think that's a perfect game for Wentz to go in. He's really taken the high road on this whole situation, because just the way it was all played out, it was just extremely unprofessional. He wasn't my first choice to come to Washington, but the way everything is played out, this is a politics issue. I don't think this is an issue of him being a locker room problem or anything. This all comes back to the COVID issues and everything like that, from what I understand. Anyone I reached out to, anybody I know in Indianapolis, that's everything they said. There was, nightlife, anything out. People loved him. His teammates loved him. Is he a vocal locker room leader? No, because if you look around the league, there is only a handful of those quarterbacks to be your locker room leader. So that's not scaring me. What I want to see, though, is up into that game, I want to see him trusting his arm and trusting his receivers. And again, the kind of speed that they have, I think by that game, I think Dotson, I don't know early on you're going to get him going, but man, that guy, of anybody's tape that I watched ever picks, that's the one I love the best, because he was a guy that was used to horrible quarterback play. Balls that were thrown at his feet, over his head. You just saw what was the first day in camp. He made that same one-handed catch made at PSU, the highlight reel catch. So I think that guy's going to be awesome. But Indianapolis, I just think it's just too much firepower. But again, that's being an optimist at this time on paper. But if you look at who they have, that's a perfect game for them to just air it out on them.
Okay, say
it. The good old Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts is going to be a formidable team. Offensive line is nice. Something that Matt Ryan has not had in Atlanta. So with him having an offensive line, that's going to allow him to stand in that pocket and sling that rock. Michael Pittman Jr., Paris Campbell, what's the other one name? Alec Pierce. And let's not forget about Jonathan Taylor and the dude behind him in Naheem Hines.
Yeah.
So, if the defensive line not ready this game, they're going to find out early, because they're going to sling it. They're going to sling it some more. Maybe, every blue moon Matt Ryan throws a bad ball, but most times what he throw there is gone. It's just time for him to leave Atlanta. I mean, it is what it is. We need to go full rebuild mode. Defensively, we already know the Colts. The Colts are monsters on defense. DeForest Buckner, Darius Leonard is a monster. So they're gonna have to bring the A game. Yeah, Carson Wentz is going to return to the scene of crime, and he's gonna see some people over there that they know him. Can he mentally buckle down and handle his business? And do what he need to do. Because Matt Ryan is a consummate professional.
Yeah,
He gonna come
they
out.
lost to Jacksonville and the
let him
Raiders.
Sling that rock.
Last
He gonna
two
come out
games.
sling
They
that
ain't
rock.
that much of a monster.
It's as simple as that. You're gonna let him sling that rock. He gonna come out slinging rock. That's what Matt Ryan will do. But if they can get their run going, and then the play action to the run, that's money. That's what he does. That's money for him. We know he's not gonna run the ball.
Jonathan Ngakoue is another.
Who's not gonna run the ball? Matt Ryan.
No, yeah. Jonathan Ngakoue is another defensive lineman that they have that show really good potential towards the end of last year too.
Hey, look, man, they lost to Jacksonville, and they lost their last two games to Jacksonville and the Raiders. Their defense is not. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. The defense. No. The defense couldn't stop the Jacksonville Jaguars. Don't just put it all on Carson. The defense, the Jacksonville ran up and down the field on these dudes. Don't just put it all on Carson. You was talking defense. He a monster. The defense a monster. Like they're the 85 Bears or something. They got an okay defense. Let's talk real. They got an okay defense, but the defense is not like the best defense since the 2000 Ravens.
Well, no. But also you got to look at it too. You got to look at it this way. Also, Indianapolis hasn't beaten Jacksonville in a very long time. So it was a total team.
They lost the game before that.
Yeah, it was a total team thing. It wasn't just a Carson Wentz thing.
They lost to the Raiders before that.
it's that mental block of going down there and facing Jacksonville that the Indianapolis Colts have to get over. So that is weeks 1 through 8 for First String Podcast. We will look at our next 4 games and our next episode here. So the last thing we're going to ask everybody before we get out of here is this: is looking at the Commanders. What position group do you guys believe? What position group do you guys believe needs to improve the most this year?
Hey, hold on. You said this is the last segment before we get out of here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I missed a couple of minutes, but I'm surprised. I'm shocked at you, bro. I'm shocked at you. I'm gonna ask her for you. Hey, AD, are we gonna sign Terry McLaurin or not?
Oh no.
This dude, he's obsessed with this question. So I'm surprised he ain't pepping you over the head with it already. Pause. You know what I mean? But are we gonna sign McLaurin or not?
I think you have to. That people are talking about money, but like in the realm of 22 to 25 million somewhere in 2 years, that's going to be not even a top 10 wide receiver contract. So if they don't pay him because of that, I'd be surprised. But, I think it's also a foregone conclusion that Terry McLaurin wants to be here long term, even though he's saying all the right things. I think if I'm his agent, I'm saying, listen, the floor is 25. A lot of people talk about 2022, but the floor is 25 because he did all of his damage with the revolving door around quarterback, dysfunction, everything you can name. So I think you got to throw them the money. And will they do it? I'm 50-50 right now. I was higher before, but I think that if we get into the first week of camp and we're still not hearing, I think it's a John Allen situation, though, in the end, that he'll get that. They'll make a big spectacle of camp and a big celebration. That will be the best way to do it. But if they're really not and they're really having the reported troubles that they say they are, man, this team just is officially cursed. If somehow he's gone, I'll get on board with the curse too. Right now, I'm not. But if somehow they let him go, because that guy, Kirk Cousins, Trent Williams, different scenarios. McLaurin's a young guy in the prime of his career, and he's a face of your franchise.
Yep.
I've never seen them let a guy like that walk since I've been a fan. I've been a fan since '82. So, I've seen them let guys, but face the franchise guys, I haven't really seen that yet. So I'd be shocked if he's not, first week of camp that we don't hear that announcement.
And speaking of Terry, Terry has taken over NFL Network right now, and his first game that he's showing is the Washington Commander or football team at the time versus the Atlanta Falcons. And right now the score is 7-10.
Yeah,
Don't worry. I got a feeling the Atlanta Falcons are not going to pull this out.
Yeah, I'm watching it as well.
What a game. What a game.
What a game. Yes. All right. So what position group do we feel needs to show the most improvement this year?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, say. Go say.
I think the defensive line. With everybody y'all had hurt, everybody's coming back. The people that y'all drafted, the people y'all haven't paid yet who may not be there. I think the defensive line. Because with the defensive line crushing in on the quarterback, making them throw quick, now you can adjust the way y'all run the linebackers and the DBs. Because at that point, they got to get rid of the ball. You got Chase coming from one side, Sweat coming from the other side, and then you got them Alabama boys in the middle.
Now you got 3 in the middle now. 3 Alabama.
You got 3 of them.
See, that's what I'm talking about right there. You got them Alabama boys right there in the middle. So, this defensive line it has potential to be a monster. But a potential.
Now, we've been saying that for the past 4 years.
Yeah, we have.
I'm gonna go with with everyone. The linebacker is the biggest question because I like Cole Holcomb and I really like Jamin Davis. I think Jamin Davis is really gonna have a good year this year. But it's a lot of question marks because we talked about the kid out of Notre Dame. The depth that they have, Khaleke Hudson, the other guys they have, Mayo. So behind the top 2 guys, it's a hell of a lot of question marks. So that's my biggest concern if we're talking about position concerns. I mentioned cornerbacks before, but I think the linebackers, you're having a brand, somebody that's going to be your legit Mike. And I think Cole Holcomb kind of got that by default when Bostic went down. Yep. And it was situational. It wasn't even constant. He was calling signals. But from everything I'm reading, he's going to be your signal caller this year. So buckle up.
Paulie, what position group needs to show the most improvement?
Coaching staff.
That's a good position group. That's a great position group.
You know what I mean? Jack Del Rio need to get his head out his ass. You know what I mean? Scott Turner need to get his head out his ass. Jack Del Rio, he needs to not. He waited too late last year to try to make adjustments, and then the adjustments he did make wasn't like major adjustments. He made adjustments because of injuries, you know, which shouldn't have happened. This whole Buffalo nickel thing, whatever. If they're gonna run the Buffalo, who the hell is gonna play the Buffalo nickel? Number one,
Right.
You know what I mean? And this leads me back to the safety position. I don't like the safeties. I love Cam Curl. That's about it. I know they brought the guy in from Louisiana, Percy Butler, but you don't know how these guys gonna come in and play as rookies. So you can't just throw him out there. I hate Bobby McCain. You guys know this. I do not like this dude. This dude was out of position all year long last year, except against Jake from State Farm. That's it. That's the only game he did anything worth even mentioning about. I mean, he damn near cost us the damn Raiders game. If it wasn't for the blind ass referee in the back, we would have lost that game too. You know what I mean? But I don't like the safety spot outside of Cam Curl, and you talking about a suspect free safety, and you don't even know who the hell playing your famed Buffalo nickel now. So who's gonna play that spot? Del Rio need to get his head out his ass. Paulie, you know what I mean?
Hold on. Paulie, you just said something, and I got to ask this question real fast before we get out of here. And if y'all in the chat, go ahead and answer this question up too. Paulie, you said the coaching staff is the position that needs to improve the most. So my question right here is, how many wins is our coaching staff worth? How many wins is our coaching staff worth? Where they outcoach the other coaches and put our players in the position to win? How many are we worth? Just give us a number real fast. Paulie, I'm going to start with you.
You kind of confused me with that question, man.
How many wins is our coaching staff worth?
You mean from last year to this year?
This year.
I mean, shit, you got to say every game. They're the major factors in every game. They come up with the game plan. They decide who plays. They decide what they want to do and how they want to do it. So you got to say every damn game. I mean, but if you want to say just off of last year and the games we won and lost, I could honestly, say, man, I mean, it was at least 3 games that was obvious that you're like, what in the hell are they doing? You know what I mean? The main one on me was that the first Cowboys game. After you come off a 4-game damn winning streak, and then you abandon everything you did on the 4-game winning streak. I mean, you had to say the whole Landon Collins, is he a safety? Is he a linebacker? I mean, you just jump over to the offense. Like I just told you about the damn Eagles game on Monday night. You got a quarterback that's had 6 practices on your damn team, and you go out and throw the ball 30 damn times with him. I mean, last year was a complete discombobulated clusterfuck out of the coaching staff last year, man. It was crazy.
So 3 is your number, Adam.
At least that many. Maybe more, but I think the situational hiccups that we've seen in the past, that's my concern. And we talked about North Turner. I like to go back and watch the Carolina film, and just he is all over the place. I know he wants to air it out, but then you'll see a lot of dual back sets. You'll see a lot of stuff going on. So he has the tendency to lose games for us. As far as Ron Rivera, I'm not really sure about that. And, Del Rio, I'm not the biggest fan of his. I think he needs to stay off social media because he's
terrible.
He's not good. He's
terrible.
Just not good. But I think in the end, those guys, they're just kind of more the dinosaur kind of guys. So what you've seen is what you're going to get, unfortunately, I think, out of, Rivera and Del Rio. But Turner, he's a guy that really has an opportunity to really show some innovation now. He finally has some speed on at receiver, all over the place. So to me, I'm looking at him more than anybody else as far as the coaching staff. And I think that if he plays, if he calls good games, I think, we can see maybe a 500 to 10 win season. But more than that, I think you're really going to have to see, a couple key players you weren't expecting to step up more than that.
All right.
Hey, Adam, you're right. Innovation. How many damn times is he going to line Gibson up in the shotgun on the right side of the formation, motion him over to the left formation, and then run him back to the right side? That was the only damn running play they had all year long, and he ran it into the damn ground with no See, this what makes me mad with Scott Turner. I don't even mind that he passes the ball, but he has no rhyme or reason to when he calling plays. It's like he just calling damn plays. Like one play doesn't offset another play. Like what the hell are you doing?
Play. Absolutely
exactly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the problem with them. And if you ever watch the receiver, why do we always have 2 to 3 receivers in the same damn area or in passing game?
I think
this shouldn't be happening. This shouldn't be happening game in, game out. Well, you got receivers always within 3 or 4 yards of each other.
Yeah.
All right.
That should never be happening.
We got Paulie's blood pressure worked up. Listen, hey,
Bruce
Glass said he agreed with the defensive line, and Dominic Greer said the clock management was terrible last year. Hey, thank all of y'all for putting y'all comments in. So my position that needs to improve the most or show the most improvement. This is going to shock you a little bit. It's going to be the offensive line. And the reason I'm going to say the offensive line is because I want to see them stay healthy and I want to see them dominate. I want to see them do what they did during our 4-game win streak, which is just go out and just move grown men against their will. So the offensive line, because we lost 2 pieces on there, both of our guards, we got new guards coming in, but let's get to it and dominate like we did in our 4-game win streak.
You talking about Scott Turner again.
Yeah, I am.
Because with that 4-game winning streak, we was running the ball.
Yeah,
that's why they was dominating, because they was running. Then on our 5 out of 6 games, we have the last out of 4 out of 5 losses we had at the end of the year, he wouldn't try to throw the ball every damn time.
Yeah. So, hey, Adam, tell everybody where they can read your articles and things at.
Well, first, thank you guys for having me on. This is a great time. And Paulie, I know I remember your voice from Sheehan, man. I used to listen to Sheehan all the time.
Yeah, you know me, man. You know me, hail to the W, baby.
This made it so much more fun tonight. But yeah, just check me out, the Burgundy and GoToPort.com. Like I said, we've been doing the undrafted free agent edition, rolling out those rookie editions. Because, after the draft, we saw all those articles flowing out. I don't spend any less than 8 games on all of the prospects, including undrafted rookies for my site. So again, it's the Burgundy and GoToPort.com. It's free to subscribe, no paywalls, anything like this. Subscribe, premium member. You get as soon as I publish my articles, it gets sent straight to you. You don't have to wait for social media publish. Check me out on Twitter, the B&G Report. I'm also on Instagram and on Facebook. You can find me. I'm in all those groups, on every single Watching group, NFL group on Facebook. But yeah, it was a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much for having me on.
Hey, the man is on social damn media. Go find him. Everywhere.
He's everywhere. Once again, thank y'all for joining us. We call it an OG Classic because we get in, we get out. Hit him with a Paulie.
Hell to the W, baby.